Hello everybody, it's Holly from Besotted Orchids. Thank you for joining me today. Listen, I haven't talked to you guys in a very long time, it seems like. Quite a few things happened since then. We're going to be talking about these orchids. We're going to be focusing on dendrobiums with one special guest today. But yeah, I've had quite a week, quite a month. I have been very busy getting ready for I have a holiday party for my expert hikers. They're coming in on Saturday. And on Thanksgiving, I'm not kidding, the minute people left, my husband came around the corner with a crowbar and a hammer. And he removed all, behind this wall here is my kitchen. He removed every bit of the tile and then plywood to take it back to the subfloor, which we have a very old home. So our subfloor is a beautiful, beautiful oak floor. That's how they used to build them. So we are going back to that. So he waited until, 3 weeks before my party till he decided, or 2 weeks before the party till he decided he was going to do this. Saboteur. I'm thinking a little bit of sabotage going on here. He's not a people person. He's glad he has to work for most of the party. But anyhow, so yeah, right behind me is devastation. Colossal devastation back there. It is old floorboards that desperately need refinishing. So tomorrow morning I will be getting up and driving 12 miles away to get a great big belt sander. I will be sanding the entire floor. Then I will be sealing it with a beautiful sealer so it'll look like this in here. I don't know if they've ever showed up in the videos, but they're beautiful, beautiful oak flooring, which was part of the problem. He tore it up without knowing we had new flooring to patch an area that had been removed before we ever bought the property. So I have been Googling, marketplacing, going everywhere looking for wood. And finally the other day I drove an hour and a half away. I took Lily. We drove an hour and a half away to go get white oak boards from a sawmill that had been sitting at least a year, thank goodness. Then I brought him home, and then we had to take him to an Amishman. Thank you, Steven. He'll never see this. Really great guy. We had to take them out to him and have him plane them. So the Amish are so good. Some of the Amish are just amazing. So Steven, within minutes of us getting there at closing time, he unloaded everything from the truck, him and Reggie, and they ran it all through the planer while his two little Amish girls looked on, his two daughters. They're just the sweetest things. And the one, I noticed I was standing with my arms crossed. It was kind of cold waiting. I see her standing there like this. They're just, that family is really, really, really nice. I will be going back there in the spring to learn how his wife has such beautiful blueberry bushes. I need some help. I really need some help. I've had Amish people say, stop. Just stop. You have no business growing blueberries. I'm determined. I'm going to have a blueberry patch. I have like 21 bushes out there. Maybe they need more water. I do the acid. I mean, the acid. Yeah, I acidify. I do everything. So enough about that. I'm going to show you some orchids. And then towards the end, if you want to hear a near fatal kayaking event, stay tuned. I'll talk to you about that. Oh, I just want to show you this real quick. I feel like I don't do anything when I'm not filming. Homemade caramels. I did spend last night for my party. I did spend last night making homemade caramels and wrapping them. I got the really nice cellophane to make them look a little more professional. So I did spend the evening wrapping those up for my party. But here we go. We're going to talk about some orchids. This beauty that you see in front of us, I have it. You don't believe what's going on underneath the camera here. I had to have it lifted up on another flower pot. This is perfect for winter. Look at that. Absolutely perfect for winter. This is, do your research, Holly. Look at this beforehand. See Mary Snow King. Of course, it's a dendrobium. Everything here, minus the surprise guest, is a dendrobium. Now, this one is different than the rest of them. This is the only one here that's going to show up today that's different. This one should have, unless you want to grow a lot of cakeys, you should give it a dry, cool winter rest. One of them. You really need to have one of them in order. You don't really want to water these after like Thanksgiving or even Halloween. I would stop watering. This one I will not because it is in bloom. But this one did come to me in bloom from Sheldon. Not in bloom, it was in bud. But look at it. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. And let me see. It smells so nice. It really, really smells nice. Let me see if I can tell you what. Just a nice fresh, not really roses. Maybe a dainty lily. I don't know. Nothing like a stargazer that's going to knock your socks off. Very, almost a sweet. It's a very sweet scent. Pure white. Maybe a tinge, just a teeny bit of a green back in the labellum. But it's hardly noticeable. But it is a beautiful plant. And what is today? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 days. I'm hoping there's still a few blooms for my party on this one because it is so beautiful. And that's another thing I'm debating. Do I go? I'm in the middle of nowhere. Which way do I go today? Do I go down to Mount Vernon? I'll tell you where I live. Do I go way down that direction to make a quick trip and get what I need for the party? Or do I go the other direction, even a little bit further, and get some white phalaenopsis to put, like I did last year at Christmas. I had white phalaenopsis on the table. I'm thinking Mansfield might win out. I might go the other direction. I might hit Home Depot. But just my luck, I'll drive all that way in the snow. We do have a little bit of snow here. See, this one is going over, and then they will be sold out of their phalaenopsis. They do that every winter. They have phalaenopsis that come in, and they give them 2 for $10. So anyhow, here she is. And just a second ago, I was removing these. These are some of the spent blossoms. When they start getting a little papery, just pinch them off very carefully. Now this one, I will just continue to grow all throughout the year. I won't give it any kind of a dry winter rest at all because it is out of season. It's not in our season here. This has been forced in a greenhouse. You know, this would not naturally be blooming right now. Not in our part of the world. So it is, and if you're just watching, I am in Ohio. We're in cold, blustery Ohio. It is what it is. It's very cold. The other day, it didn't even hit freezing for like a week. It was very cold. I'm watching my birds out here enjoying the bird feed. In fact, I have to go get Suet. I'll tell you, it never ends. There's always something I have to go do. I am doing things, but I'm not filming. I'm pretty busy. So anyhow, I'm going to bring this one out. Oh my goodness. I don't know how. See, I just watered it yesterday, so it's still a little damp at the very bottom. Let me get this down for you to see. Lift you up a little bit. This is a dendrobium, of course, because that's what we're looking at. Very tall. I mean, obviously it's out of camera range. I say this one is well over 2 feet tall. Well, no, if you take the pot away, I don't want to give pot size, about 2 feet tall with the spike. And it does have another growth coming behind it. Not fragrant. There's no fragrance to this. None of the other ones have any fragrance. So this one is absolutely beautiful. 7 on this. And this one, I think I have another one over here that has 8. I just kind of like to watch how many are on it, because if you're getting like 2 or 3, it's not been a great spike for you. But something's better than nothing sometimes. But, so this one does need a dry winter rest, the nobly. The rest of these you're going to see do not. These just grow all throughout the year. Now, I'm just going to bring this up because I do want you to see the canes. You see how nice and fresh these are? One of them is blooming. There's 2 canes here. And the other one is kind of, I'm going to have to restake it. I just don't want to damage anything. The other one will be forming a spike very soon. Big, healthy growth on this. Now, this one does not have a name. It did come from Kingwood Center Gardens, which is a beautiful, it's like a mansion you get to go tour and beautiful grounds. This one did come from them at a, they had their very first orchid show last year, which I was delighted to go to. Fingers crossed I get to speak at the next one. Fingers crossed I will get to be a speaker for the orchids. Bucket list. It's one of the things I'm really looking forward to. When I was, and at the end of the show, it lasted a week or so, 2 weeks. They did let you buy the orchids. So I bought a couple, and this was one of them. So no ID. But I would just love to be able to speak there and give my orchid talk. I think that'd be great. So anyhow, he has my business card. He was really excited to know somebody he wished he had known last year because he had nobody to speak. Believe it or not, this is my first cup of coffee today. My first cup of coffee. Okay, so we've done 2 in bloom, so we'll do one that's not blooming quite yet. Look at this one. I am sorry, it's another no ID. Story of my life. Seriously, if nobody's figured out yet, Holly has raging ADHD. It's rocking and rolling lately, it really is. Look at these beautiful buds on this. This is one I have had in my collection for a while. I believe this one came from Sheldon, most likely. Beautiful, beautiful, big, thick cane on this. Look at that. Very, very nice. Very nice. And as you can tell, larger than the former canes, which is something to note. You want your new canes, when they come into your care, to be bigger and better. That way you know they're growing, they're doing well, they're thriving. Now, that being said, when you do get these from wherever they are, they're being grown in optimum conditions. They know what they're doing. Everything is nailed in. Everything's dialed in. It's exactly how you want it to be. I don't have that in my home. I don't think a lot of people do have that in their home. So for this to have this kind of growth after coming out of those conditions, I'm really, really proud of this. And I did find that after my summer off of just wandering around the lakes, my dendrobiums did really well. The dendrobiums were very forgiving. Cattleyas, oncidiums, not so much. Paphiopedilums did really well though. I don't understand because they are water lovers. And the only thing I can think is that I knew I had spent so much money on the paths. They were my pricier orchids. So I probably did give them a little more care. I probably was like, listen, if I can only water one thing this week, it's going to be you. I think I did lose part of my Spicerianum, which is very upsetting. If it doesn't pull through in the spring, I will be contacting Hauserman, and hopefully they have another Spicerianum. It's supposed to be the easiest Paphiopedilum in the world to grow. And I've killed it. Fingers crossed, not all of it. But I lost that, and I lost my beautiful little Pinocchio. Both, I think, I can resource at Hauserman over in Illinois. So it's just money lost, but you know you don't like to lose an orchid you've taken care of, or not in my case. So no, they do, some orchids do require more care. Some are more forgiving, and if you have a busy lifestyle, which I typically, I usually have time to take care of my stuff. Come on, I'm a stay-at-home. I do homeschool. I do some activities. I do teach classes at local libraries on various things, but I should have enough time to water my orchids. I just got caught up in the kayaking craze this summer, and every time I had a minute, I'm 5 minutes from 2 lakes. Anytime I had a minute, I'd be like, I'll be back in an hour. I took my kayak, loaded. I just throw it right in the car. I don't worry about roof racks. I have an older car. I just throw it in the car, strap down the hatch on the back, and I can be loaded and on the lake in like 10, 15 minutes. So this one here, I don't know what it is. This one here, I believe, has a white with a little tiny tinge of pink at the very ends. Like a blush, not a nice bright pink. But yeah, and again, this one will not have a scent. As far as I'm aware, from memory, I don't think any of my den phals, they call these Dendrobium phalaenopsis. This is a Dendrobium nobile. The other ones I'm showing you are den phals, because they do have more of a phalaenopsis type appearance. I'll leave that right there, that looks kind of nice. Let's scoot this one up a little bit. Okay, so we have those. Now we'll go back to another one in bloom. Look at this beauty. You did not get to see this one. This one came from Carmela also. I have not shown it yet because it was a little bit further behind the other ones when I was filming. Stop moving around. But look at this. Just full of beautiful, beautiful blooms. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4 spikes on it. So there are a lot of beautiful spikes on this one. Let's see. Look at that. Very, very pretty. Very almost velvety. It really has a velvety texture. Now, this is something I would like you to note. If you're not familiar with Dendrobiums, do you see this is the same cane? It has formed 2 spikes. So with the care of these, the canes are really relevant. It seems so weird to say that. I'm just going to go off track for a second. My son plays, Relevant's not watching this, I'm sure. This man he was from Islamabad, and he moved to Brazil. So Relevant, if you're watching, try to tone down the cursing when you play. Anyhow, he's an online gamer who plays with my son. There's a group of them that always play. But, so when I say Relevant, it feels kind of weird to say nowadays. That's his gaming name. But anyhow, it is relevant to this that you do keep the canes in good condition. Because, as you see, there's 2 growths on here. And you'll see in another one here in a minute that next year it can bloom again off the same cane. This is not like an oncidium, that one cane will give you 1 spike and you're done. I mean, you still want to take care of them. It does provide nutrients back into the plant to help it thrive. I'm not saying willy-nilly just go cut your orchids to pieces. Oh, that's done blooming, I'm just going to cut it off because it's a little bulky or it's a little something. Sometimes if I have an orchid that's going completely willy-nilly wherever it wants to go, I will snip one off. If I can't get it back in, because I only have so much room on my windows. But no scent, again, a beautiful den fowl. Keep your spikes in really good condition. You can see the progression, how the little ones were the first ones, and then they get bigger and bigger as they go. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I feel like I'm coming back into the excitement, and I wish I could turn my camera around. I'm not, you know me, I'm not going to edit. I need to go somewhere. I've asked my libraries. We have a really large library over in Mansfield and a computer area. I said, come on, can somebody show me a really nice, easy way to do all this editing? I have tried it, I have finagled it, I've had it just nailed down exactly where I want it. At the last minute, I do something. So I said, no. You guys are just going to get what you get. I'm sorry. If you want fancy editing, you're going to have to go to another channel. One day when I can get my head wrapped around it and I can just think and form a thought, I will spend some time learning how to do that. I know you can YouTube it. I do have all the software. I have all that uploaded. But this is a beautiful, beautiful one. And as I said, it will bloom for years and years and years. That's the thing about an orchid. An orchid is infinite. If you take good care of your orchid, it's infinite. It can go and just okay, say 2 of these die. Well, it has another stalk coming, and another one, and another one. It's just going to keep going. The word eluded me. It's just going to keep going. So an orchid, the only way an orchid's going to die is if you have not taken good care of it, or if it has had a virus from something. This is Dendrobium blue violetta times Dendrobium diamond queen. Now, when you see the X, the time symbol, that just means they've been crossed together. That's all it means. A mother, father, whatever you want to call it, the parents of this orchid. So I don't see an actual name of this orchid yet. It may be out there, it's just not on this tag. But sometimes you only get a tag with the parents. That's all you're going to get. Would I one day love to make my own hybrid? Of course I would. Can you imagine? Oh my goodness. If you took this beautiful, deep, deep burgundy and crossed it with this one here, you'd have maybe the sepals and petals would be a little longer, but maybe pull this color. It'd probably be really, really nice. I did have an orchid get pollinated the other day. We had a bee in here. Well, it was probably 2 months ago. And I forget what it was. It was a cattleya. Because I was very, very upset. Because I was like, no, because as soon as it pollinated, within like a day or 2, the blossom was dead. So I've read and I've heard about it and watched shows on it, and it happened here. Once they're pollinated, there's no need for the flower anymore. It's done its job. That's the purpose. So anyhow, here's my 3rd blooming. Do you want to hear the story about the kayak? I'm going to tell you. I have to unburden myself from this. I have to tell you this. Okay. About 2.5 weeks ago, we're heading into winter, right? So we had this beautiful day. It was just out of nowhere. This beautiful day came on. And I knew there was going to be storms later in the day. I had done my research. You see where this is heading. I had done my research. I had checked Doppler radar. I knew when I got on the lake when the storm was supposed to hit. Cloudy day. But beautiful, beautiful. I was out there filming, just taking pictures, enjoying my last day on the lake, having coffee on the lake, doing everything you do. But my problem was, I was alone, which is not a problem normally. You're alone. You can't always find someone to go with you, but you do tell people where you are. But this particular day, I parked in a location I never park in. I parked on down at a different location. If you're going to do these things, you have to tell people where you parked. If you change your routine, because most of my friends and Facebook people, they know kind of where I am. So I always check in with people, especially if I'm hitting the lake or if I'm hiking. I do like to check in with at least a couple of people and say, hey, this is where I'm going. Lily and I are going to be hiking here, because you can't always go with somebody. You don't always want to go with other people. Sometimes you just want to be alone. So anyhow, I parked out here, and I headed way down to the dam. The lake goes kind of L's, kind of an L, which is pertinent to the story. I was down there having a high old time down the dam end, checking out everything, just having a blast. Beautiful day, a little bit of sun peeping through here and there. I had an hour left as I came around the headland, according to radar. I had 1 hour left, so I'm like, I better go back to the car, get myself back there. Come around the headland, look west, towards home, it faces west. There was the mother of all winds. I mean, I didn't see that. I did see it was more cloudy, more storm clouds forming. Still thought I had plenty of time. Then I heard the winds. And and I don't know where you live, where I live, when you hear the winds coming, particularly with this house, we sit in a valley. When the wind, you can hear the winds before they hit. So anyhow, on the lake, I definitely heard the winds before they hit. I heard them. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have minutes to get yourself to shore. And there's no way possible. There's no way on that lake. I don't care how hard you paddle. You're not going to get to shore in 2 or 3 minutes. So just when I got my mind wrapped around the fact that this was going to be an ungodly battle, the waves came. I'll tell you, I've never had waves like that. Never in my life. I've been out on some days that you probably shouldn't have been out, that it's, you got some good waves about coming up over. You're supposed to stay, we say in our group, don't go out over 8 or 10 mile an hour winds. We were pushing over 40 miles an hour winds. We had some gusts of up to 50 mile an hour winds. It's all everybody talked in the neighborhood, this horrible storm. I was in the middle of the lake when this hit. Oh my gosh, I, like a silly little person, all you can think is, you want your safety, you want your comfort. I'm going to my car. I had to cater corner the whole lake. Yes, it's cater corner. It's not caddy corner. People were saying it wrong. It's cater corner. So I get a lot of weird looks when I say cater corner. I had to go over across the lake diagonally to get to my car, which was pretty much against the waves. Which, listen, if you're in a kayak, I feel if you're sick of hearing kayaks, just tune out. There is one more orchid you can come back to in a minute. When you're in a kayak and there's a lot of waves coming, you want to be facing them this way, not this way, because you can push so much more against the side of your, you want to have the bow facing. So I'm in the right position to get back to the car. So I try and try and try. There's no way I could fight those waves. I was devastated. I was like, oh my gosh, I have no clue what to do. So I'm like, no idea. Hindsight, thinking back, I would have turned myself around and I would have hunkered down underneath the Mohican Lodge on the cliffside, and I would have waited it out. I probably could have got there a lot easier. No, I'm heading home because my son was at home alone. So I'm heading home, and I just couldn't do it. I was making no headway. So I thought, I have nothing to lose. I'm going to die out here if I don't turn my kayak around. So I did risk turning it in the middle of all that horribleness. So I did turn it and headed the other way, which led to all kind of difficulties later. So I got turned around and headed the other way, and it was just so much. Listen, if I hadn't had the entire year where I had been paddling and working up some behemoth muscles up here and had some technique, I don't think I'd be talking to you today. I don't think I'd be here. There was a split second where I thought, just stop. Just stop. You're not going to get out of this. Just stop. And of course, knowing there are houses on either side of these big hills and somebody's up there watching you. I know somebody was watching. I'd be watching. I'd be watching the lake if there was a storm. You'd notice somebody out there. The Mohican Lodge is up above. Somebody was up there watching me. Didn't care enough to call anybody. I hope they had a good time. I hope they had a good time. So anyhow, I got turned around. Of course, I was going way, way, way away from my car till I finally managed to get back, soaking wet, kayak full of water. I mean, this was just, I was bouncing. I've never bounced like that in a kayak. I was everywhere. So I did get myself back to shore. Had to portage my kayak clear through the woods, up over dead trees, because we've had tornadoes through here in the last couple of years. Oh my gosh. I finally came out at a campground. So I left my car at my kayak at the campground, walked the whole way back to my car. Between the car and the campground, there is a gate that's locked with the padlock. So like, I can't even drive back to get my car. So I had to call the park office. Soaking wet. At this point, I'm just leaving my life jacket on for warmth. It was horrible. Because of course it got cold. So I'm out there. I call the park office. So I have to continue to my car. I had to drive to the park office, get a key, come, because no park ranger could be around. I had to go down, unlock the gate, drive down, get my kayak, load the soaking wet thing in, try to take out the water I could. Phenomenal. Do everything in reverse, return the key. At that point, they're like, wow, I can't believe you were out there in that. I'm like, really? Can't believe you weren't watching the lake. Somebody should have seen me, but from where they were, they could have never seen me. I was too far down. So it's nobody's fault but my own. It may be Doppler weather. But I did make it back, and I got home, and my son, oh, bless his heart, he's 14. He had taken the dogs to the basement. It was that bad. And we have an old basement. Nobody goes down there if you don't have to. So he had taken the dogs down to the basement, and they don't go. Only one goes. Only Celeste will ever go to the basement. And they all happily went. It was that bad of a storm. So he came running out because his phone wasn't working. So he came running out, and he's like, oh my gosh, Mom. He goes, I never knew how much I loved you. He goes, I knew I loved you. I mean, he's my baby. He knows he's very well loved. He said, I never knew till I thought you were dead. He goes, there, I just knew you were on the lake. He's kayaked enough in some days that had some decent waves that he knew this was not going to be a day Mom should have been on the lake. So anyhow, I had a full-on adrenaline rush for a couple of days. That's what I should have filmed. I could have filmed all kind of things for the next couple of days. I was flying high on adrenaline. But yeah, if you do anything like that, err on the side of caution. I had an hour. I should have allowed myself 2 hours because I did want to be out that day. It was the last day I could go for the year. But yeah, it was a ride like I've never had in my life. I don't think it would hurt. I mean, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. But fighting for my life out there on the lake gives you a new zeal for life. I'm not going to suggest anybody go out and do something silly. But it's probably why these people do this rock climbing. It's probably why these people do these extreme sports. Like jogging. Sorry, to me jogging is an extreme sport. If you see me running, you better run. There's something coming behind me. I am running from something. So anyhow, I'd love to hike. I could hike all day. Not all day long, but I could hike for a long time. Now, let's get back to this. This is an old standby. This is an old standard. This is just one of my best. I'm going to get you out of the way. I'm getting crowded here because this is a big one. A Roy Tukanaga. Look at that. And you do want all these canes to stay because this one will bloom from almost every single cane that it has. This one will. This is a reliable orchid. I have 2 Roy Tukanaga types. Amazing. I think this is the one that is a little longer, maybe called Angel Wings, something. Let me get up and show you. I do want you to see this one coming on here. Let me see. Look. There is the spike. And it does, right here. So you can see it. I have other spikes next to it that aren't part of the plant. It does have some spotting already forming on it. And it does have some of the little dew. Oh my goodness. A mealybug. So anyhow. This is my Roy Tukanaga. I'm checking it out to see if there's any other spikes. There is another one I saw. I did see another spike. Trust me, there's another spike on here somewhere. And I'm going to have to get some alcohol today for the mealies. Just when you think you have them all under control, you find them. So, this one will be blooming shortly. And this is a little damage. You know, as the canes age, as you have them for years, they're not always going to be pristine. I do wonder if this one had a little bit of a mite issue, a little powdery underneath. So I might also go over that with some Dawn dish soap. Spritz it and give it a good wipe down. These are going to get pests, even if you're in the house. I don't know how. They're just going to come in. Do they come in on another orchid? Do they come in when you open your doors? I don't know, but they got out of control this summer. Everything got out of control. My son said, Mom, what happened with your garden? What happened with your quilting? What happened with all these things you used to do? I said, John, this year I'm going to have the most beautiful garden. We have almost 4 acres here. I'm trying to make it pristine. I mean, not pristine. I have a big, beautiful meadow out front. I want some wildness. I said, I do want a gorgeous vegetable garden this year. I really want to work on it. Off note, does anybody watch the, she's one of the biggest Instagram people in China. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Lizzie Q? QI at the end, so I don't know how to say that at the end. Lizzie QI. Lizzie Q? I don't know. She has come back. She was missing for 3 years. And she is like Martha Stewart on crack. She blows Martha out. I love Martha. I love Snoop. She blows Martha out of the water. She will just march out there and she will cut down bamboo and come home and build a bamboo fence and plant roses up it. And oh my gosh. So that's what I've been doing in the evenings. So she did have some, I'm sure some of you are familiar with this vegetable fruit, bitter melon. It's used a lot in Asia. So I did rush over real quick to my cabinet and I got out my Baker Creek heirloom seed catalog. They just came and bitter melon is in it. And they have one really long white one that will look like almost like chandeliers. It says when it's hanging in your garden, chandelier type. Probably something like that. Or stalactites, tight T for top. Stalactites hanging down. So the way I remember that, stalactite, T for top. But you can tell I homeschool. I have to remember things to teach my son correct ways. But anyhow, yeah, there's a mealybug. She has started posting again, and I just absolutely love to watch her. She doesn't speak that we can hear in English, in other languages. She speaks Chinese, of course, but she doesn't do a lot of speaking. This is not a tutorial. You're just watching her life as she goes about planting flowers, harvesting, growing, garlic, whatever in the world she's doing, going up on the hills and harvesting tea, taking care of her grandma. Oh my goodness. So I'm really happy that Lizzie Q is back. If I'm saying it wrong, which I probably am, the ending of her work name, please let me know. But yeah, so I do kind of stuff like that in the evenings here to try to bolster myself up to do a better job in my garden next year. You have to have some inspiration when you're doing things. But anyhow, these are my Dendrobium, Denphals, and I do have a couple other that are going to be, oh, there is one over in the window. We'll just leave it. We'll leave that for another day. It's just starting to get the little nubbins. There's another one over there going to start spiking, and I think a few more in the living room. Now, here's something. I've been waiting for this one for a while. Probably had this over maybe 2 years. Maybe this summer will be the second year. Oh, this came from Triton. Okay, Paphiopedilum labadianum. And look at the size of this. Look at this glorious orchids. And these, I have 3 really nice ones, and they do all live in these kind of pots. They all kind of look the same. So people come in, they'll look over it. I had somebody say, "Oh, those are your expensive orchids." I don't know what gives it away. A little special treatment, but they just look different. They do look different from the rest of my orchids. But I noticed last night when I was peeking around, looking for mealies, because sometimes they hide down here. When you come down through here, there is a sheath developing. I've never seen this bloom. I am so excited. I'm trying to remember if this is the one that's crossed with Rothschildianum. Mealybug detritus. One more thing to add to my list. Alcohol. I'm with advice of alcohol. And these do feel a little leathery. I think as they age, they get more leathery. But this beautiful new silky green leaf. Oh my goodness. So these are doing really well. I would have been brokenhearted had anything happened to these this summer. And next year, I don't know. Set a Google alert. I might have to set a Google alert every 4 days. Go water your orchids. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased to see this one finally, and I have read that it needs a cool period to bloom. So that would make sense because we're very cold here. I mean, the house isn't cold, but we don't keep it screaming hot either. We keep it like 68. So at night, it does drop to 65. My orchids, oh, there's a new growth forming. I know, I'm squirreling around. Lots of my Panthea petalums are developing new growth. I have, I believe, I want to say Lady Isabel over there. It has like 4 new growths coming on it. So I'm doing something and, oh my goodness, why can I not remember his name? Ed's Orchids. I think I remember him saying he uses some calcium in his. So I did order CalMag, and I give it to all the orchids, but I make sure I make sure these always get the CalMag with their feed. And I think they're doing really well. I mean, this is, oh yes, 2 new growths coming on this. Let me see if I get this up so you can see the growth coming. The growth will come way down from the base. There's one growth. And a teeny, I don't know if I can ever get you to see that. You're not going to see it. It's so tiny. Trust me, it's there. Teeny, tiny one. So anyhow, that's it for orchid business. I don't, if anybody has any interest in seeing my houseplants, deep breath for this one. I said I would never have houseplants again because they take up orchid space. I'm sorry, babies. But I don't know. I've been getting a few houseplants. One of them did, I'll do a video showing you. One of them hangs on a big, beautiful hanger that my daughter got me last year, part of my Christmas gift. And it's one of those round hangers in a burrowtail hangs in it. I have 2 burrowtail. I have a string of pearls, a tortum, philodendron, which is so unique. A polyantherium. You can tell I'm not good with these names. Polyantherium in some sort of a river rock, or I don't know, some kind of a Hoya. Something to do with a river. That I want to put in one of those busts, one of the busts, the heads that you have for hair coming down. I want to do that. And then upstairs I have some bigger plants. Fiddle leaf fern. No. Fiddle leaf fig. Which I'll tell you what I did to that. If you're not orchids, I'm sorry. If you're not interested in houseplants. But I had a really, really large, ungainly. I wasn't happy with it. It wasn't branching. It wasn't doing anything. In just some kind of a fit one day, I cut it to ground level. And the pot was just too heavy to bring back downstairs. The big, huge, heavy summer pot. So I'm like, I'll just leave it. And before I know it, beautiful new growth came up with no care. So if you're fiddle fig tree, whatever it is. Listen, I'm not a houseplant person. If it is doing poorly, you can cut it back to nothing, and they do come back rather quickly. And it's it's a beautiful plant now. It's probably 2 feet high, so you can do that. I have some kind of, I don't know. There's all kind of my larger tree type plants grow upstairs in my sewing room. But if you have any interest in seeing some like that, I would like to show you the tortum someday because it's an interesting looking plant. There's a couple plant channels I have followed. I can't think of the names of them, but there's some woman I believe she's from the UK. She has a dog. I don't know. She has a dog. That's all I can tell you about her. But she has a house or apartment just dripping with plants everywhere you look. So maybe that's part of it. I'm like, ooh, somebody has plants. I need to get a couple. But I can show you that. And some have moved in here because my Christmas tree, one of the Christmas trees, is now in that window where my burrowtail normally hangs. But yeah, so for the next couple days, I am going to be baking, frosting cookies, getting my menu planned, sanding my floors while everything is tucked away away from the sand. I'm going to have to hang. My kitchen has 3 doorways that have no doors. So I'm going to go to the dollar store today and buy shower curtains because they're light. I don't want to hang sheets because they're really heavy. I'm going to hang them in the doorways and try to prevent a little bit of the dust from moving because it does have a bag. Oh my gosh, I was supposed to pick the sander up this morning. I will have to call them and tell them we changed our mind till tomorrow. Okay, things Holly has to do today. So anyhow, wonderful new subscribers coming on board. I appreciate you all. Thank you. I will try to post more often. Of course, you've heard that song and dance before. I get wrapped up in all kind of little things I have no business doing. That's how it is. So anyhow, I hope you're all enjoying your pre-holiday hustle and bustle if you are celebrating the Christmas holiday. And I'm not familiar with all the other holidays. I believe Hanukkah probably follows after. Don't be mad if I don't say that right. But I hope whatever holiday or whatever you're celebrating in your life, find something to celebrate. Find something. Even if it's just you made yourself a really good cup of coffee that day. Celebrate. Oh my gosh. I do have to tell you. Oh, I don't know where I put them. Darn it. Okay, so every time I'm kayaking or wherever I am, I always have a really nice, I use my coffee cups. I'm not going to drink out of something weird out there. So I take my coffee cups. And you can be clear across the lake with your group and you'll hear somebody say, oh, there she is with her coffee cup again. Because I take a thermos. So, for my expert hiker party, well, I know this is a problem, I must be out there. Sometimes I take fine china out. I sit in the woods and have a nice cup of coffee. Enjoy your life. Everything should be celebrate every little moment. Don't save your fine china for. Go to the Goodwill and pick up a beautiful china cup and enjoy it. Go out in your yard and have coffee, tea, whatever you're having. I have some lovely tea. I'm going to be having some of that when I get home today. A Christmas blend. So anyhow, I found they can't be more than an inch tall. 20 of these beautiful little cups that honest to God look like this. Identical. So, as part of their coming to the party little giveaway gift, I have to bribe people to come. No, they don't know they're getting that. I hope they're not watching. I'm going to tie one of those little tiny coffee cups onto their bags of caramels. What says Holly more than a cup of coffee? So anyhow, that was just something fun I found. And it was so funny. My daughter, she said, Mom, you're such a skinflint. You're so careful with your money. You worry about everything, but what you want, you'll spend whatever you want on. You don't care. So, like I'll say, oh my gosh, they wanted $10 for this stupid thing at the Goodwill or whatever, or $20 for whatever at the store. I'm not going to buy that. I'm not paying for that. I'll wait for it to come on sale. So I have money for my addictions. Hey, you do what you have to do. So, anyhow, I said, well, I only paid $20 or $11 for these coffee cups that come in this tiny little bag. She goes, Mother, I can't believe how you are. There are certain little things, I don't care how stupid they are, you'll pay whatever you want. $11 was nothing to me to pay for that. But she goes, this is just counterproductive to who you are. This is not who you are. You try to save. Because, if I want to go buy something really nice that I want, I go get it. So basic things that I use for everyday life, I do try to save money on, because why not? Why not get it on sale? I love a good thrift store and things like that. But yeah. She's like, Mother, you spent this and you thought it was such a great idea. I said, it's a fabulous idea. It's a fabulous idea. I know everybody coming to my party is going to just be thrilled to get their teeny little coffee cup. They can put it on a keychain. They can throw it away. I don't care what they do with it. But I just thought it represents me to them probably more than anything other than my dog Lilibet. Lily goes everywhere with me except kayaking. So, thank you all for watching, listening to my rambles. Yeah, I will be tending to this orchid today. I think I maybe even, I don't know if that's a piece of scale. I don't know, something. This one will have to be thoroughly gone over when I get home today. I do have to go get some groceries and things so they're in the house, so I don't have to go back out in case it snows. And my husband's bringing pizza home tonight, so that's a nice thing. I don't have to worry about dinner with all this mayhem. Oh, I didn't tell you. Listen, I'm going to go back on this for a minute. So the kitchen floor. This home had been a home, converted to a granary, converted back to a home. So back at the very end of my kitchen, they had just put plywood on maybe a quarter of the kitchen. It's a really long kitchen. So a quarter of the kitchen they had put plywood under. So there's no more oak boards. I don't know if they put the granary down. They did something with it. So we had to replace the boards. I have gone everywhere looking for the actual oak floorboards that you find. Nowhere to be found. Where do you find 130-year-old floorboards? So finally found this guy who milled it. And they said, you shouldn't need to do the tongue and groove. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But we will, because we're hammering into solid oak joist. So that's probably not going to move anywhere. And it's aged. So anyhow, he has to cut those down tonight. He has to start putting them in. I said, don't worry about the end of the kitchen. I really don't care. That's not going to be sanded by my sander because we just had it planed. But that I have to finesse. I have to get my stain because the rest of the floor doesn't need stain. It's going to get a clear coat. It's a beautiful, beautiful reddish brown color. Kind of a gunstock color. That's the gunstock's what I've chosen for the stain. Maybe a little provincial thrown in. You got to do what you got to do. So I think I can get this. I think I can get it to where it matches the kitchen. It's not going to look as old, but it will be the same color. So that's my hope. That's my plan. If he finishes the rest of that after the party, it's fine by me. I don't need that dummy for the party. We'll throw a big rug down in front of the refrigerator. That's all we have to do. So yeah, we have been very, very busy here doing random projects. When you have an old house, it never ends. You always find, I mean, this was a complete fixer-upper. Complete. From beginning to end. We touched every surface in this home, down to the electric, to the plumbing, to everything we've redone. So yeah, we're nearing the end. We're nearing the end of what needs to be done to make it how we want it. You know, this way you can make the home exactly what you want. And this has been a very long video. I'm sorry. This is 45 minutes, 46 minutes. If you're still with me, bless your hearts. Oh my goodness. So I hope you have a great day. I hope you're enjoying the season. Heading into summer in the southern hemisphere. Must be nice. Of course, we do enjoy the snow. So, enjoy yourselves. Take care of yourselves. And above all, enjoy those orchids.